From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
As the world remembers the attacks that happened 17 years ago, here at Tempe Beach Park on Healing Field, there are nearly 3,000 flags to remember those who lost their lives.
And help from Arizona is already headed to the East Coast ahead of Hurricane Florence, a Category 4 monster that's only getting stronger.
Plus, candidates are trying to secure voters before November elections, but polls say they may be neglecting the Latino demographic. What this means for Arizona voters tonight.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Jordan Daphnis.
And I'm Matt Lively. Thank you for joining us. It's been 17 years since the terrorist attacks on September 11th. That day, America changed, and many can't forget where they were when they heard the news. Cronkite News reporter Holly Bernstein takes us to Tempe Town Lake, where those who lost their lives in the attack are honored each year.
Shock. I was in complete disbelief. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I almost thought it wasn't real. I do have family that lives in New York.
Lorraine Cardenas was at home when she heard that the first plane hit the World Trade Center. She says she immediately called her friends and family who were in New York. They were all okay.
That's your immediate reaction when, but you're still in shock after what you're seeing, and then you're just kind of calling other family and friends as well.
Cardenas brought her son, who was a freshman in high school, to the Healing Field tribute at Tempe Town Lake,
so that he can understand what these flags signify and what happened, because he didn't know about it.
The majority of school children today are too young to remember that day, but 10-year-old Michaela Carranza says she's learning about it in school.
It made me learn more about how it happened and how people fought for our country.
Several kids attended the tribute, including Connolly choir members who performed at the Freedom Concert. Cardenas says she encourages everyone to visit if they can.
You may not be someone from New York, but you feel it when you're here.
A flag with a card naming each person killed in New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania were planted in the Healing Field. In Tempe, Holly Bernstein, Cronkite News.
To wrap up the Healing Fields Memorial, there will be a candlelight vigil tonight at 7 at Tempe Town Lake.
Arizona groups are participating in service activities around the valley today to remember the victims of September 11th. St. Mary's Food Bank is hosting their first ever Day of Service event. Volunteers around the community came together to pack meals for those in need. This event was started by the 9/11 Day organization in New York City and has made its way to Arizona, San Francisco, and Los Angeles this year. Companies and nonprofits all across the valley partnered with the food bank to have a turnout of more than 1,000 volunteers.
This particular organization wants to change 9/11 from a day of sadness to a day of service, and a day when we can go out and do good things in the name of those that were lost.
So it's, some of us are just working the registration, some of us are working in the parking lot, just trying to get everyone to park somewhere, but most of us are doing what really matters, which is packing the food and getting it out to the families that need it.
The 9/11 Day organization hopes to expand to 20 major cities within the U.S. by 2020.
President Donald Trump paid tribute to victims of Flight 93 in the Pennsylvania field where the flight crashed 17 years ago today.
Together for every mother and father, sister and brother, son and daughter who was stolen from us at the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and here in this Pennsylvania field.
Trump honored the civilians and staff on board by calling them true heroes for their efforts to regain control of the plane after it was hijacked. In Arlington, Virginia, Vice President Mike Pence was at a memorial service at the Pentagon today. The Pentagon was attacked after both towers at the World Trade Center were struck. Pence said that 17 years later, the nation is even more empowered in its defense of freedom.
The American people showed on that day and every day since we will not be intimidated. Our spirit cannot be broken.
Arizonians all over the valley are finding ways to help out and pay tribute to the lives lost. Cronkite News has created a Twitter moment for you to be able to catch these stories and share your own memories. Follow us at Cronkite News and check out Arizona Remembers 9/11 as we add to the moment throughout today.
Several first responders who were in New York on 9/11 are a part of a Phoenix search and rescue team now headed east to assist with Hurricane Florence. 35 Phoenix Fire Department members, 10 support personnel, and 2 members of the Phoenix Police are currently on their way to North Carolina. More than 1 million people in 3 states are ordered to evacuate in preparation for the Category 4 storm. Hurricane Florence has 130-mile-per-hour winds and is expected to make landfall Thursday. The storm will hit the Carolinas and coastal Virginia. Flooding is also expected across the eastern seaboard. FEMA is warning people that they need to be prepared for what's to come.
I can't tell you, we are planning for devastation. This is not a light storm. This is not a glancing blow. This is a Category 4, Category 5 storm, which are separated by miles per hour. I mean, we get wrapped up in that. This is a major storm that's going to hit our coast. It's going to stay on our coast. It's going to dump amounts of water that some of these areas have not seen in a long, long time.
The University of Michigan predicts 2.4 million people to be without power from the storm. President Trump has declared a state of emergency in Virginia, North and South Carolina. The mayor of Washington, D.C. has also declared a state of emergency. We are following the path of Hurricane Florence coming up in weather.
Several new Spanish-speaking detention officers have recently graduated from the academy.
Coming up on Cronkite News, find out why the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office believes these bilingual officers are critically important.
Plus, a new direction to boost voter outreach, how one group is using social media and text messages to energize a younger generation of Latino voters.
Join Emmy Award-winning CNN anchor Anderson Cooper as he receives the 2018 Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism, attracting industry leaders from the media, politics, business, and education. The award luncheon is the Cronkite School's signature fundraising event. Tickets for the luncheon ceremony on Wednesday, October 17th at the Sheraton Grand in Phoenix are available for sale at cronkite.asu.edu/luncheon or call 602-496-0482.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia.
From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office recently held a graduation for a new class of detention officers, which included Spanish-speaking officers. Cronkite News reporter Edgardo Lazoya attended the ceremony and spoke with officials regarding their diversity efforts.
That my actions will reflect credit on myself and my agency. That my actions will reflect credit on myself and my agency.
Class 947 made a promise to respect and obey the rules and procedures of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Valeria Cáceres, a graduate and Spanish-speaking officer, dreamed of joining the military but found that she preferred the Sheriff's Office instead.
I never really imagined myself here, and now that I am, I'm very happy, and I feel a sense of satisfaction in doing something new and making my family proud.
Being able to communicate with all members of Maricopa County is what the Sheriff's Office believes is important, according to Chief of Custody Barry Rosca.
We want to do the best job that we can in order to communicate with them effectively. And part of that is that talent that someone might have to be bilingual. We have to recognize and afford the opportunity for those that are limited English proficiency in order to understand the processes.
Currently, the Sheriff's Office has over 1,500 working detention officers. Of those 1,500, over 50% are white, not Hispanic, and 35% are Hispanic. With 16 new graduates, MCSO is looking to reach out to all communities in hopes of filling 251 spots in their department.
Officer Samantha.
Casares admits some people have questioned her choice of profession with MCSO as a Latino.
I would say that if you think we're bad people, then you should join the force so you can see what we focus on and what our policies are. We work based off what our policies state. That means we can't do whatever we want.
It's really important as an organization that we are, one MCSO. It's not just one uniform or one person. It is a combination of everybody contributing to that one goal of community service to professionalism and dedication to a career field.
And part of that dedication, using bilingual skills to communicate with those who speak limited English.
There's satisfaction in helping your own people because we're the ones translating, and through that, there's an opportunity for less problems.
In Phoenix, Edgardo Lozoya, Cronkite News.
Those interested in a position within the force are expected to showcase professionalism, courtesy, respect, and fairness to those in and out of custody.
With just 2 months until the midterm elections, the Latino voting rights group Mi Familia Vota is kicking up its outreach. That's after polls say politicians and party organizations may be neglecting this demographic. Reporter Lillian Donahue in our Washington, D.C. bureau tells us more about the problem and how advocates hope to address it.
Recent poll data by the National Association of Latino Elected and Appointed Officials shows that almost 60% of all Latino registered voters have not been contacted by a political party or campaign. Now organizations are doing their outreach on their own.
We know that we cannot count on the candidates and the campaigns and the politicians to get out the Latino vote.
Mi Familia Vota released a campaign today named Usa tu Poder, or Use Your Power. It will rely heavily on social media, text messages, and other digital tools to energize a younger generation of Latino voters.
This year,
they hope it can turn around consistently poor Latino turnout during midterm years, which in turn leads to those voters being overlooked by campaigns.
They normally like to target those high propensity voters because that's what they know they're going to vote for sure. And low propensity voters, which happen to tend to be Latinos, they don't do that.
Cesar Martinez, who worked with several political campaigns, including the late Senator John McCain's, says it's up to the voters to show up and spark interest for their community.
The one that votes is the one that holds the power. So at the end of the day, if you don't participate, you cannot expect things to change.
The key to change, they say, are millennials, who make up the largest Latino age group and who are adding nearly 800,000 eligible voters each year, according to the Pew Research Center.
And the youth have in their hands the future of our community and the future of democracy.
In Washington, Lillian Donahue, Cronkite News.
Monteroso says he's encouraged by what he sees as increased interest by Latino voters in Arizona, and as a result of campaigns like this one, he expects the state to be on the forefront of change and Latino voter turnout this year.
A federal appeals court is scheduled to hear arguments in a lawsuit that challenges a state law that bans groups from collecting and delivering early mail-in ballots from voters. This comes weeks after the state's primary, where voters experienced some trouble with voter address updates and technical issues at the polls. The state's election falls just under 2 months from today. Cronkite News will be closely covering the election season. Stay connected with us on our social media to catch the latest election updates.
The Arizona Attorney General's office has filed a claim against the manufacturer of the opioid painkiller Oxycontin. The claim alleges that Purdue Pharma used misleading and deceptive marketing to push opioids. According to the AG's office, the company's actions are a violation of a prior court order from 2007 related to the state's Consumer Fraud Act. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, there were over 70,000 opioid-related deaths in 2017. Last year, President Trump declared a public health emergency with the opioid epidemic.
A new program is bringing chickens to the classrooms.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how a program is giving Arizona students a taste of the food industry.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's beginning to look a lot like fall in the southwest region. Not quite so much yet here in Phoenix. We'll have your forecast coming up soon.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. The 2018 election season has arrived. Join us for primary and general election debates. Right here, meet the candidates and hear their positions. Arizona Horizon, your source for what matters most this election season. Only on Arizona PBS.
Millions of people die every year from drinking dirty water. I would never have felt I had the ability to do something without ASU pushing me. We built filtration systems out of local materials with the people. To see those kids drink clean water for the first time, it's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. I went to ASU because I wanted to change the world. The thing I never would have expected is how the world would have changed me.
If you're looking for one show that tells you what happened that day in the world of business, it's NBR.
We saw a classic shipwreck.
Nordstrom's opening stores.
Triple-digit gains.
Crude climbs.
We're there to help our audience find new investment ideas.
The market still has room to go up.
Nightly Business Report is the longest-running business television program in history.
Weeknights at 10:30 on Arizona PBS.
At one Gilbert High School, you can find chickens right outside of the classroom. It's part of an effort to make sure agriculture is part of the curriculum. Reporter Tanaya Williamson spent time with the Arizona Farm Bureau and received a little lesson on how we approach our food.
The Arizona Farm Bureau brings lessons on agriculture into the classroom, giving students an opportunity to learn more about the food industry.
Yeah, like food products and how they're packaged and like how they appeal to other people and like how people get them to sell and to certain, like the audience, basically.
Schools like Highland High School are part of the Gilbert Unified School District, which offers agriculture science classes at all of their high schools.
Everything that we do is the same curriculum that they would have in their economics classes, just with an agriculture focus.
Nonprofits like the Arizona Farm Bureau come into schools to teach students a better way to approach food.
So what do you guys think?
Katie Akins, Director of Education at the Arizona Farm Bureau, says that she enjoys giving lessons to students.
And so the effort is to not make them feel ignorant for not having that firsthand knowledge and experience, but really showing them that the information is out there and where they can go to find that information so that they can be better informed consumers.
While they don't learn everything about agriculture in one day, students like Crimson Reedburn says she feels better about what to look out for.
Like beforehand, reading the label, I thought that was it and done. But there's more to it, and so that's a good takeaway to be able to actually look at it and know that it might be questionable.
Other students like Zoe Sherman believe that marketing plays a big role in what we consume.
It allows you to actually realize what is true marketing and what isn't, and then how to avoid misconception.
In Gilbert, Tanaya Williamson, Cronkite News.
Highland High School also offers its students classes like food science and even genetics. These classes count as vocational education credits towards their diploma.
A Texas Tech climate researcher says climate change may be linked to Hurricane Florence. She says global warming is not directly affecting the storm, but the changing climate is helping increase the storm's damage. Hayhoe says tropical storms and hurricanes are moving more slowly. Storms are intensifying more rapidly. The rising sea level increases the potential damage, and hurricanes are becoming more intense.
Hurricane Florence is supposed to make landfall Thursday. The Category 4 storm could reach Category 5 when it nears shore.
Let's check in with Alexis Liel to see what we should expect there and here in the valley. Alexis.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are currently at 107 degrees right now with a dew point of 44. Now, we are still tracking Hurricane Florence as it's making its way up to the Carolina coast. It is expected to hit landfall Thursday night to Friday morning. We will pay close attention to this these next couple of days. Moving on to the high temperatures throughout the state, We are still sitting above average in Phoenix at 106 degrees. Moving up north, go ahead and start packing your bags because Flagstaff, it is 76 degrees. Pretty pleasant day in Shola, 84, 95 in Globe, and 107 in Yuma. Now for the next few days for the 7-day forecast, we are going to be in the upper 100s, but Friday and Saturday we're going to top off at 108, ending the week on Tuesday at 105. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Alexis Leal, Cronkite News.
Instead of just looking forward to one recess, kids can now look forward to two.
Coming up on Cronkite News, we head over to the playground to see what kids and parents think of a new law that extends recess.
I'm Matt Berry, ESPN Sports Center anchor and graduate of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. With its bachelor's and master's degrees in sports journalism, the Cronkite School is preparing the next generation of sports journalists to tell stories that matter, stories that excite, inspire, and inform. Cronkite immerses students in covering sports at all levels in one of the country's top sports markets. It's this hands-on experience under the guidance of award-winning sports media veterans that shape the top journalists of tomorrow.
For the past 8 months, we've been delighted to bring my show Amanpour to PBS. Now, I am thrilled with our new show Amanpour & Company. I'm really looking forward to working with our incredibly talented contributors. Join us for Amanpour & Company.
Weeknights at midnight on Arizona PBS.
More recess, more playtime, and more exercise for Arizona students. Arizona recently implemented a new law that requires schools to give children in kindergarten through 3rd grade 2 periods of recess. But Cronkite News reporter Micah Bledsoe spoke with a Chandler mom who's concerned that her child does when recess is canceled.
Before this fall, kids in Arizona only got 1 period of recess. A recent report published by the American Academy of Pediatrics suggests that play deprivation is associated with increasing rates of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Alexa Jones, a 7-year-old who enjoys recess, says sometimes though recess is canceled, Basha Elementary keeps students inside when there's a heat advisory or rainy days. When that happens, they participate in play programs like Go Noodle or Just Dance, where students play interactive learning games in the classroom.
Yeah, I don't like it when they take away my recess because I like to play with my friends, and when they take away my recess, I don't get to talk with them very much.
Her mother, Carrie Jones, says recess is a huge part of Alexa's day.
I'm just seeing a lot less anxiety and stress. She's more calm when she comes home. She's just not utterly exhausted.
Although she is happy about the new law, Jones says her main concern is when recess is canceled due to heat advisories or taken away as punishment.
And a lot of times what's sad about that is the kids that lose their recess are usually the ones that need it most. They're the ones that, probably act out in class because they have so much energy.
Santan Charter School principal Amanda Arrington says that kids need to move, which is why her school is doing more than giving elementary kids 2 recesses.
Our 5th, 6th, and 7th all have a lunch recess where they can play on the playground equipment, tetherball, foursquare in the field.
Arrington says the recesses help decrease discipline in the school and increase engagement in the classroom.
But we have to also remember that they are still children. and just developmentally, they're not quite ready to sit for 8-10-hour days.
In Gilbert, Micah Bledsoe, Cronkite News.
In August 2019, the Arizona law will extend to include 2 recess periods through the 5th grade.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, we visit with filmmaker Ken Burns, talk about his new documentary on the history of the Mayo Clinic. Ken Burns on the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Kat Wise. As wildfires rage across the West, there's a new effort underway to study large urban wildfires and their impacts on human health. That's on the next PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.